Housing costs and homelessness still impacting many San Diegans.
Here to talk about what the city is trying to do is Mayor Todd Gloria. Mr. Mayor, good morning. Good to see you.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Let's get right to this. The latest on the Bridge to Home program. People want their cities to do something about homelessness, and then sometimes it's not a simple thing to get accomplished. Give me the update on what we're trying to do.
We're trying to work on all fronts to address this enormous crisis that's not unique to San Diego. It's affecting every one of the 18 cities in our county, the entire state of California, increasingly communities all across this country. You mentioned Bridge to Home, which I appreciate you doing that. This is an innovative program that I launched 2 years ago. Over 3 rounds of funding, we've been able to take $63 million of city funding to create 1,300 new affordable homes for San Diegans, all 1,300 affordable, many of them reserved for the formerly homeless. Those projects are going up in neighborhoods across the city, so we're not concentrating this in one part of town. Every neighborhood is being a part of this solution, and we'll have more of that to come. That's one of the many ways, in addition to permit reform, speeding up approval times, working in Sacramento and DC to get our fair share of federal and state resources to try and address this crisis. But bottom line, Raul, we have to build a lot more housing, and it has to be housing that's affordable to working and middle-class San Diegans.
Okay, and speaking, let's talk about the H barracks.
Yeah.
I know that last night there was a meeting, there was a lot of pushback, but let's get back to, they're turning this, it's an abandoned military facility. They're going to turn it into a 700-person homeless shelter. When can we expect to see movement on that?
Well, you see some out there already. As you mentioned, those buildings that are on the screen are old military barracks. They have not been used in decades. They're filled with asbestos, so right now we're abating that asbestos. In the new year, we'll start demolishing those buildings to make way to prep the site for what would be a temporary homeless shelter. To your question, I think the soonest we could see homeless sheltering operations there is probably about a year's time. There's a lot of work to be done, but we're doing that work now, and that work includes consulting with community members to understand their concerns and try our best to address them. I think I was with you guys not that long ago addressing the concerns in Golden Hill about a safe sleeping site at 20th and B, concerns about Balboa Park institutions, about the OLOT safe sleeping site. I'm here today to tell you that both of those are operating successfully without community complaints. I believe we can replicate that at H Barracks.
We've talked about this through the years, and we even started by saying, you know, people want something done, but they don't want, it's the not in my backyard argument has been around for decades, forever. People want stuff done, just not in their own backyards. Let's talk about the people who oppose this, and they were very vocal yesterday. They said that there's been a lack of communication from you, from the city. It's too close to Liberty Station, it's too close to schools.
To the airport.
What are your thoughts on that? Is it too close, and where exactly is it? Because many people maybe don't know exactly where this is. And
I guarantee you don't, because many of those folks who are raising those concerns are misinforming the public and suggesting that it's maybe in the Corvette Diner parking lot or on the grass in the middle of the cultural district. This is not the case. This is at the very edge of San Diego International Airport. It is across a boat channel from the Liberty Station Arts and Culture District. It's about a 25 to 30 minute walk from what we all understand to be Liberty Station. This is city-owned property. It has no use at the current time. It will eventually become a wastewater treatment facility, but that's years from now. And I want to use every bit of city resources to tackle the biggest problem facing our city, which is our homelessness crisis. So rather than using this publicly owned asset to just sit there, let's put it to use. Let's house hundreds of our unhoused neighbors and get them on a path to addressing their homelessness and resolving it once and for all.
This is such a long-term problem that needs such a long-term solution, and not just in San Diego, but statewide, nationwide. But you mentioned that water treatment, that plant, that's about 5 years, let's say 5 years. So what happens in 5 years if those people still need a place? Because it seems like whatever city is trying to do something with the homelessness crisis that we have in this country is, are we even making a dent? It seems like there's no solution, and the more you try, the worse it seems to get.
Well, that goes back to where we started this conversation. Housing is unaffordable, and as long as that's going to be the case, we're going to continue to see more people become homeless. There's going to be new data released today showing, to your question, that the ratio of people housed to unhoused is going in the wrong direction. Now, in that data, I want to reflect on the fact that we successfully house thousands of people from our streets and into permanent housing every single year. The problem is more people become homeless, and that's because housing is so unaffordable. And so when you go to communities and when they say, Mayor, do something about the homeless, and I say, okay, we can put up a shelter, we can build more housing, as you mentioned, People are very good at identifying the problem, but they're unwilling to embrace the solution, and that's a recipe for the status quo. I want to be very clear to every one of your viewers, this mayor will not stand for that. I will continue to push pro-housing policies to make sure that your viewers who struggle to make the rent have a place to live here in San Diego if they're willing to work hard and abide by the law.
All right. I mean, I feel like we could ask you so many more questions. We're running out of time here.
Yeah.
Mayor Gloria, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for coming in to talk about this.
Thank you for having me, as always.